Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of the Back to the TARDIS podcast, the podcast where we take a look at every single episode of the 2005 revival of BBC's Doctor Who. I'm Jeff.
I'm Skylar.
And I'm Celeste. Meow.
And today we are discussing Series 5, Episode 2, The Beast Below, by Stephen Moffat again. This episode is Amy's first trip into the future and into space. Yeah.
Why do they always do future first?
I don't think they always do future first.
Martha had future first.
Martha had past first. Donna had past first.
Okay. So we're even right now then. Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I have to say I didn't remember this episode very well at all, but I remember it being like not I remember it being kind of meh, but I watched it this time. And honestly, this episode's kind of low-key based as fuck, and I kind of vibe with it, like real shit.
Yeah, I mean,
dude,
this is an episode that I remember distinctly, but just because of the weirdness of the ultimate reveal, and I remembered it being kind of mid. I also remember it because Space Whales is kind of linked to one of our favorite albums.
Yeah.
But yeah. But yeah, I remembered it being really, really, really mediocre. I think it was a bit better than I was expecting. I wouldn't say it was great. I'd say definitely the first half of the episode is really the strength of it, and then I'd say it kind of tapers off.
I honestly think this one's really good. I legitimately think that.
I think
it's not flawless.
Yeah.
And it's definitely got some jank, but I think it's very solid.
I was surprised. I was surprised by the feeling of being like, this kind of feels like RTD based.
Stephen Moffat?
Yeah, but with the Moffat tropes, and yeah, I don't know. What I think carries this episode is the 11th Doctor actually having a damn character. The 11th Doctor fucks in this episode, and not like Stephen Moffat fucks, but
he's a very yeah.
And Amy's good.
There are some interesting aspects about this episode that are heavily RTD in my opinion.
Yeah,
absolutely. Just visually, it's just very RTD. You get that sort of grungy spaceship, people living in close quarters. Everything is kind of grimy and very worn in kind of look. And so that's right off the bat. But also there were a couple moments where 11 felt distinctly 10-ish, where he wasn't like how I remember 11 at all. He was very much talking almost in the exact cadence that David Tennant would use. I remember I watched it, and I said out loud, he just acted like 10 because he was doing the manic fast talking, moving his hands kind of thing, but in a very different way from what you see from 11 a bit later.
Early days.
Yeah. This definitely adds this very much it makes sense when you sort of realize that I think Moffat didn't know whether or not David Tennant was going to be going on for another season or not.
Oh, really?
So I think it makes sense if you think about it in that way of Moffat didn't know whether or not this was going to even be a David Tennant episode or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He had an outline, an arc outline for the series. So there's probably holdovers from that, and also this is the first time writing his own Doctor. So I can definitely see the comparisons, but it's also, I guess, just knowing what becomes of 11 later, it's nice to see him kind of be more reserved, still see that sort of like childlike wonder, but still reserved and very clearly sort of put on to offset how like tired he is of all the bullshit. Which when the bullshit comes up, it's great how he reacts to it, which is probably one of my favorite parts of the episode. But anyways, we'll get there.
So yeah, we start with 11 sort of holding Amy outside the TARDIS, being like, "Woo, look at me, I'm the whatever, like I'm cool Doctor Man, look at me."
I mean, that shot is almost, it's very metaphorical in a sense, just the way he keeps Amy like hanging on by a thread while showing off.
Yeah,
like he's literally like got her as far away from him as he can get, like in the control room, literally like right outside the TARDIS. He's really making that space.
Yeah,
and it's like conveyed visually in that shot.
Yeah, definitely. Bleh. What was I gonna say? We see the Starship UK, which, you know, very, very sort of interesting idea. Great looking design. Oh, I forgot there's this whole pre-credit sequence. I didn't even really like. It's a Doctor Who pre-credit sequence. What the fuck do you want from me?
Yeah, I like, kind of forget about them.
It's kind of just basic bitch shit, man.
I will say, though, when I first saw the Starship UK, I know this isn't why it happens in the episode, but all I could think of were about, like, 5 Brexit jokes in my head. It's just like, wow, they really took it that far, huh?
No, Scotland exited. They said so. They said Scotland wanted their own.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And then Amy says, good for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Side note, Stephen Moffat is Scottish.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Okay, I do have some questions about that logistics, because it's implied later in the episode that the Brits like only got out because of the whale. So does that mean everyone else on the planet died? And from this point,
it's no, everyone else got out. The Brits are just incompetent as fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that checks out.
Which again, in a post-Brexit age, is like, yeah, fair enough.
So like everyone else got the fuck out, and the Brits just like were the last ones left, and they're like, oh no, we didn't know what to do.
To be fair, Starship America like, probably took off and then got stuck in orbit, and then that eventually became Satellite 5.
Oh my god. Oh shit.
That's lore now.
That's like
that's it. It's
headcanon, yes.
You're welcome, Internet. Yeah, no. Visually it works. Jokes aside, it's an interesting idea. And you know, having it's just a passing line. They don't really reference it except for a few times, but it's just like climate change is the reason. So yeah.
No, it's not climate change.
Isn't
it's
it set,
solar
like...
flares?
Oh yeah, it's solar flares.
But isn't it like the increased whatever?
No,
I'm
the
in
sun
a rhetoric
just
class
does
that's all
that,
about climate
fam.
change.
The sun just does that, man.
Okay. Ignore me. It's more base than I gave it credit for, but still more base than I would have expected.
Yeah. So yeah. I guess it's kind of just for that gag, but it's really like, what is even the point of setting up like the Doctor being like, no, I don't interfere, and then is that just supposed to be a goof?
Yeah, that was a weird moment for me. It felt very like, of course we're gonna get into Star Trek. Why wouldn't we? But it felt very Prime Directive-y, except
no,
we all watched We all watch Doctor Who, so we know that's bullshit.
Also, it's literally the Time Lords' MO. That's literally their thing.
Yeah.
And it's literally the thing that he gets in trouble for when they capture him in the war game. So it's like, what? The fuck
Also,
are you talking about, bro?
Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's just there to set up the, like, saving crying children thing.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's a very strong Moffat, like, that's a very Moffat-y thing. Like, the doctor is so old and so kind and he wants to save all the children. And then they just, like,
It's the fairy tale motif.
yeah, exactly. They really like it's worse later, but I think that moment of like I don't interfere is very much meant to sort of facilitate that, and it's very forced because it's just obviously not true, and it's something Moffat's doing so he can later be like, oh, but he interferes for the kids because fairy tale manic pixie dream guy. This isn't creepy at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've noticed early Moffat, there's a lot of like, there's some narrative and like plot beats that don't make a lot of sense, but since the theme and narrative is so strong, at least for now, I can kind of go with it. But then I'm just like, oh no, wait, that stops working after a certain point.
Yeah.
But I'll admit, outside of that one scene and like another scene that we'll get to later, I was pretty much in it for the whole ride.
Yeah,
it's just those little things that it's like, what?
Yeah.
Prime Directive.
I have to say it's a little bit like like coming back, it's like RTD, it's like, oh, there's a lot of good stuff in the RTD little scenes, and then in Moffat it's like, yeah, I didn't remember these for a reason. What the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. Or like I'd say Moffat is very like obviously RTD is very good at plots and narratives, but I feel like his strength was always like characters and moments, whereas Moffat is about these like themes and plots, and when you start looking at the characters, ugh.
Oof how chowies. So yeah, I do like his assessment of how like how this place is very clearly a police state feels. It's like Seven wouldn't have done it as fast, but like that level of perception feels very Seven. Of him, like he's walked into the room and already sussed out exactly what's going on.
And you sort of,
well, I mean, he hasn't completely sussed it out, but he definitely has sussed out that something is up.
And I think that was actually a very good moment because it builds exactly on the thing from the previous episode of like look exactly where you think you shouldn't look, and it sort of builds on that thing of like seeing the things that you are like right under the surface and being able to like extrapolate that and draw conclusions. And it's a very different sort of skill than what 10 has. Like, because I think 10 was a lot of the times just like, he's very good at like thinking on his feet and like sort of catching up with the situation. Whereas 11, he's so far sort of very on top of things. Like he's able to discern like right away, like, okay, something's up here, and like get some of the key like frameworks out there like immediately. That's happened like in the first 2 episodes already.
Yeah.
And this time we could do that without the weird camera thing that I can't even describe.
The Sherlock montage. That's literally what it is.
Yeah. Oh god. Can you imagine that? Like, if it was like, this is going to be a weird reference, but for like the Disney show That's So Raven, how like once an episode she'd have like the premonition. Like, what if that like Sherlock moment just happened every 11 episode for like 3 years? God.
And it gets a second longer every time. Only a second, though, so you don't really notice that anything is up until it's been like 2 years.
BBC, hire me. I need money.
Just turn Doctor Who into like a self-parody.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh yeah, and then there's the sort of the first thing here that was like the first like hold on based though moment, which is when 11 doesn't beat around the bush and just straight up calls it a police state.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, okay."
And it's interesting
It's just
because you
like-
have like a lot of really base stories in 9 and 10, but they never like use that sort of terminology.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Not that I
maybe.
can think
10
of.
wouldn't, 9 would.
No, like
Based egoist 9.
I can't. No, it's not that they wouldn't. It's just that I don't remember any time when it was written into the show them using that sort of language.
That's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he tells Amy to go after this crying child. Here's a throwaway line of, I swiped her wallet when I bumped into her. It took me 4 tries, but I got it eventually.
You see, that's the sort of like dumb, or not dumb, but just like that's a good 11 moment that isn't like exaggerated.
Or too egregious. Yeah.
I think I will quickly point out that I think it's here that we see one of the Smiler, half human agents.
That's fucking stupid. That shit's
It is.
fucking stupid.
That one was...
No, I agree. I just bring it up here because that actor has definitely had a glow up because he's like one of the 3 like major side characters in season 3 of Star Trek Discovery. So he's
man,
he's made it.
the Doctor Who to
Nice.
Star Trek pipeline strikes again.
Again,
Oh,
who
yeah.
was it the last time?
I don't know. Was it? Didn't we talk before about like side characters from Doctor Who just like ending up places? Maybe I'm just confusing it.
It's more common. It's the
Game.
It's been
It's
more
the Doctor
common
Who
in
to
the new
Game
Star
of
Wars.
Thrones.
Oh yeah.
Well, also it's the Doctor Who to Game of Thrones pipeline. 'Cause
True.
Britain.
Yeah.
The Brits.
Haha, British. Have you ever seen the one where it's like the Madagascar like why are you white meme, but like British is overlaid over white?
White plus. Quality.
So Amy goes investigating. Oh yeah, there's a Magpie Electrical shout out here. That's pretty cool. The electrical, the like TV company from Idiot's Lantern. Magpie Electrical. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there's a shout out there. Like, I think there's like a radio or something that has the Magpie Electrical label on it.
That's Magpie Electricals is just the future Apple.
Which is impressive considering Magpie fucking got atomized in the 50s. That dude's fucking dead.
Hey, capitalism endures. What can I say?
So yeah, there is... Amy has a little moment which I like where she's like, wait a second, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? Like, same as it ever was. Can I just say, I swear, whoever did the fucking design for like the whale tentacle, I feel like that person has to have played fucking Half-Life because it looks like the tentacles from Half-Life. Like, just straight up dead ass. Which I realize is...
I'll leave that up to your judgment.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a reference that nobody else other than me would get because I'm the only one here who's played Half-Life, but I was like, wait, what the fuck? Yes. And then we are introduced to Queen Elizabeth X. I refuse to call her Liz 10 because that's fucking stupid. And this is yet another case of Moffat writing a female character that he wants to top him.
Yeah.
Like, just dead ass. Just straight up. Take the drink that's not vibrating when you place it on the ship floor.
Also, like, I'm not gonna be like one of those. I'll be the radical centrist here. I appreciate diversity in media, but to go like, hey, now the Queen of England is black, it's just like, first of all, the press would have like several thousand years of field days with that because, goddamn the BBC. But yeah, it was just a thing where it's just like, okay, like, this isn't bad. I'm not gonna go all anti-SJW dumb because that's stupid and that's not valid. But I was also just like, really?
Yeah, no, I don't like Liz 10 because she's fucking cringe, not because she's.
Oh yeah. Okay. I mean, also.
Okay. Correction. She is cringe for like any time when she's doing like the action-y shit.
Yeah.
She's fine. Yeah. During the more like down tempo sort of character-y scenes near the end, that she's better there. But anytime it's like the fucking action shit, it's awful.
Yeah. It was just so forced. Like, she's just like queen badass.
Again, person that Moffat wants to top him.
Yeah,
literally.
For two into his era, 100%. What is it? 100% representation rate. That was what I was going for. But another thing, the thing that like oddly worked for me was like, at first I was just like, are you serious? You never noticed that this antique fit your face fucking perfectly? Like, maybe you wouldn't assume memory wipe, but you might assume like, am I a cyborg? Am I a clone? Or whatever. And then I just realized that like, she's smarter than probably every other British royal in existence because she's from the future, but all of those in the past were also pretty dumb. So I was just like, you know what? Yeah.
Yeah. So Amy wakes up in a voting booth. There's actually like the Starship UK font is like what the BBC logo font looked like in the 70s. That was a nice little like, hey, I recognize that callback kind of thing.
So good.
You get this kind of like documentary of like, here is the truth, and you can choose to either forget or protest. You know, I didn't think about this when I was first watching this, but now in hindsight, now I'm just thinking of the scene in Thor Ragnarok where it's like, you are about to meet the Grandmaster.
Oh yeah. That whole sequence.
Yeah. Thor Ragnarok is the best MCU film.
Okay, but also like
me. Anyways,
the vote doesn't even make sense because if you protest, it kills you.
Democracy.
No, I mean, that's pretty clearly supposed to be satire.
No, like
that's pretty.
It's meant.
That's pretty clearly supposed to be.
It's meant to be satire, but it undermines the point of what they're supposed to be trying to do there, and it. it just comes across
Yeah.
a week. Okay, so it really undermines what they because Liz 10 is supposed to be the one who sets up this whole system, and it doesn't make sense for Liz 10 to include a provision that kills anyone who protests when she herself is like obviously concerned about stuff like obviously that characterization fails a bit, but the intent clearly seems to be that she's supposed to be a sympathetic figure um, who actually like cares about stuff, and that characterization is undermined by the fact that the protest button kills whoever presses it.
That's true.
But is it explicitly stated that she's the one that created it? She might be
Well,
facilitating
it's
it,
not.
but I don't know. I mean, it's possible. It's still a sticky situation narratively with that, but I don't know. That hypocrisy or that like plot hole didn't quite come across for me, but certainly possible.
Yeah, it was like just what I thought of. Um,
Oh yeah. The doctor comes in, is like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Uses the protest button, and they get joinked down into the fucking mouth of this beast.
Make your own search engine vor jokes here, because I won't.
Yeah.
yeah, it's too easy. It's low laying fruit. I definitely wasn't just thinking about making a vor joke before you said I was going to.
Original, baby. Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's like I can't look at this without like it. Weirdly enough, like I don't even know how it is that maybe just saying that it's vomit alone is enough to make me be like, ugh. But like, yeah. It actually genuinely makes me like I can't like actually smell it. But like
Okay, but also like the getting vomited on doesn't even make sense because when you vomit, it's going fast and it's a lot. Like that should have killed them.
listen. It's just a TV show, bro.
I know,
Yeah,
but
we're the
I
one
am
like
very passionate about the
MST3K mantra,
gastrodynamics
dude.
of fictional characters,
it
of
says
fictional creatures.
it's just a TV show, says one of the hosts of a podcast we've been doing for like a year plus now.
Listen. Wait. Okay. I invite anyone who cares enough. Is there any occasion where I nitpicked about something that stupid? If so, please let me know, and I will genuinely be like, oh yeah, okay, you're right. Because I can't think of any off the top of my head, but the likelihood is that there has probably been at least one.
Damn, I'm really getting roasted here just because I have an intense passion for fictional creature gastronomics. Okay, I see how it is.
Man.
Live, laugh, love. Pursue your dream, kids.
Shut the fuck up. So yeah. More Liz 10 cringe. And then we get to the meat of the episode where they talk
Homestuck.
Shut the fuck.
This story doesn't have an epilogue.
Oh my god. Where we get to the real. Oh, I just realized what you meant by Homestuck. I'm a fucking idiot. It took me until like I was like, were you just saying Homestuck because Celeste? No, okay. I'm a fucking fool. Oh my god.
Bakamitai. You know how it is.
Bakamitai. Which is they're taken to the Tower of London, where there is this star whale that is the thing that's flying the ship, and they're torturing it to keep it to move. Also, it's fucking like taken care of by like wayward children who score badly, which like feels part social commentary and part weird Moffat fairy tale bullshit.
We don't kill them, we just indenture them for an unspecified amount of time, and then who knows what happens to them. But don't think about that, because the important thing is we didn't kill them, even though this fate is arguably worse. A fairy tale. Anyways, sorry.
No, it's just like the idea of this space whale that likes children and won't kill them.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no, Moffat.
If you think about it, the space whale is basically
that's some
just
edge
the
posting right there.
416.
I'm sorry.
No. First off, it's the 456. Second off,
Whatever.
No, fuck you. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. Listen, I will not let you.
Metrics.
I will not let you Matt Pat game theory fucking dark bullshit into an episode that I like, Celeste.
But that's just
I won't
a theory.
fucking let you do it.
I'm just saying, you said the whale likes kids and doesn't kill them, and like by that
that's
metric,
like
the
fucking.
456
That's
are
like
basically
fucking
the same.
saying like. I can't even think of something stupid enough to compare it to, because that's so fucking stupid. The space whale doesn't use the kids.
Well, don't they feed him?
Yeah, but that's the British government using them to do that, not the space whale.
Well, it was the British government last time.
No, but they were specifically doing it because the 456 were like, fucking give us kids or we're gonna kill your entire race.
I'm just saying there is a certain parallel there.
No, there fucking isn't.
It's a like if you ignore. It's okay. I get where this is coming from. It's a like if you ignore all the ways in which it is different. Okay?
Exactly.
All right.
I'm glad we got that compromise out of the way.
Continuing onwards. Oh yeah, we get the fucking half smiler, half human shit, which is fucking stupid.
It was such a bad reveal.
That's an asshole.
There's no point to it.
That is just a straight up reaching into your fucking anus and pulling something out. Just straight up. That was fucking stupid.
It's just like, oh, the machine is part of the problem, but oh no, the humans that make up the infrastructure are also really a part of the problem, except I completely pulled that out of my ass,
but
and
the
episode makes no effort to do that.
Smilers aren't fucking real people. They're robots. And like, if you have
see, this is why the British...
No, shut the fuck up for a second. If you have the ability to make what I'm assuming would be something like androids, like with the level of like fidelity, actually more fidelity than like Data from Star Trek, what the fuck are you using fucking creepy ass looking mechanical things which are supposedly confined to a booth to do your secret policing?
I like how we've gone full circle from Celeste complaining about alien gastronomy to you nitpicking about the workings of British government androids who are so dumb they couldn't get their own spaceship off their own planet. So they probably did something really stupid with trying to make cyborgs, and that's how they fucked them up. I don't know.
No, I do like the idea, because again,
actually, I buy that.
Like,
I buy
literally,
that.
It is said. Liz 10 literally
anyway,
says
all these people should be dead because they're all incompetent.
The other fucking...
That's the theme we're getting here.
All the other fucking countries had already left to go to the stars, which means that fucking... I don't know... like Luxembourg or whatever were able to make a better spaceship design
Luxembourg
than the
is actually
UK.
the worst example you could pick because they're the head of the ESA. Just saying.
Oh.
That's where all the space
All right.
industry for Europe is. So.
Okay.
Correct.
My point is, right, that the entire plot of this hinges on the fact that, like, the British are so fucking incompetent that they were the last to leave and they couldn't come up with a good fucking design.
Yeah. Never go to spaceship.
Which I just
Kosovo
find
got
hilarious.
there before them.
Never go to spaceship Serbia. Worst mistake of my life. Peter Griffin image.
Hey, at least they got out of orbit.
Like, I find it so, it's just so fascinating because it's so, like, it's both, like, it's critical of Britain, but also in a way of, like, yeah, we're fucking incompetent bitches who can't even do, like, fucking, yeah. It's just, I find that so fucking funny.
But Liz 10 is cool. And has guns and uses
no, she's
80s
not.
catchphrases.
No,
when she
she's
kills people.
not. She's not fucking cool. She is not cool in any way, shape, or form.
It's okay.
Liz 10
I meant that ironically. It's okay. I promise.
Down with the monarchy.
Liz 10 is like the peak of rich LARPers. Like, she literally just, like, gets to prance around playing detective, and she doesn't get in any trouble for it because, you know, everyone there is working for her. And so she gets just this free reign to, like, you know, roll around in her silly outfits playing detectives thinking she's the sleekest motherfucker in the world, when in reality it's just that everyone around her is working for her and isn't going to actually stop her.
Holy shit, you're so right. Fuck. Okay.
And that's why she's terrible and uncool, because she thinks she's the hottest shit on the planet, or on the spaceship, but it's literally just that she owns everyone who can stop her.
Her guns are just filled with, like, stun bullets. The Smilers pretend to fall down.
Yeah. Or no, well, if she shoots the Smilers, who fucking cares? They're robots. They can make more of those.
Yeah.
Anyways, for all the dunking that we've been doing, I really do like this end part here, where they reveal what's been going on, and the Doctor is horrified. And you get, like, it's a very, like, I kind of wish that they went with this character idea for 11 a lot more, where his response to this is just, I can't kill everyone on the ship, and it's the last of its kind, so I guess the most humane option for everyone is at least put it out of its misery. And then, like, you get this, like, sense of, like, actual genuine darkness from him that you don't get before. And, like, it's, like, one of the few times where I can actually really remember him getting angry. Now, that being said, I haven't seen A Good Man Goes to War in fucking forever, and I also don't think that highly of that episode. So we'll see what happens when we get to that, but...
It's also one of the rare instances of 11, or a Doctor in general outside of 12, being, like, actively, like, no, you're wrong. This was... And maybe he goes a little bit too hard, you could argue that, but it's like, he's not just like, he isn't just a tour guide who is, like, incompetent and just allows them to do or say whatever, and he's just like, tee-hee-hee, I'm the Doctor, here's my magical space box. Isn't this great? Like, and then when you were talking about the choice that the Doctor has to make, which is, like, kind of a, like, semi-no-win scenario, I just thought of, like, if this was 13, how she would just leave. Just like, no, I'm not doing this.
No, 13 would just leave just as, like, nope, there's nothing I can do here.
No, yeah, it depends on which 13 you get, because you could get the 13 that kills the giant spiders, the 13...
Oh yeah, that's true, because 13 is so fucking inconsistently written.
Yeah, you could get
I didn't
that
even
one.
think about that.
You could get that one, you could get the one at the end of Timeless Children, who can't, like, stop a literal, like, universe-ending event, or you could get the one in the most recent episode, which I won't get into in detail, because it's still new and spoilers, but she didn't exactly care about moral implications in her solution that much either. So it depends. Never mind. Fuck me.
And it ties in very neatly to the fact that you remember that 10 had been on his own for a while. Because you get that thing where in the end it is Amy who has to go, no, wait, hold on for a second. Like, you're missing part of the picture here.
Yeah, that's one of the few things I like. One of the very, very fucking few things I like in Series 7, In a Town Called Mercy, where it also shows that 11 has sort of slipped back into that darker place by not traveling with Amy and Rory. It's probably better implemented here, but yeah, it does some good stuff with establishing 11 as not the, like, carefree professor that he kind of comes off as. He's still dealing with 10 baggage.
Yeah, what Amy realizes is, like, hang on a second, this thing clearly, like, it came for a reason, and that's because it wanted to help us. Now, admittedly, so there's kind of the thing of, like, this is a Doctor Who episode, so in the end, like, yeah, they're not gonna be super, like, yeah, you fucked this up by, like, capturing this thing and torturing it. So in the end, they kind of have to go with that happier ending of, like, in the end, like, yeah, it's still going to, it'll still help you out, which, you know, whatever, fair enough.
It's kind of, questionable.
It's questionable, but at the same point, I don't think they could go for a different ending considering the tone of the show. Or at least not in the way that they'd set it up. In the way that, like, if they set it up as in, like, it is the antagonist is the whale, and it is a sympathetic antagonist because it was captured and hurt, then it would make sense. But the whale isn't even really the whale isn't the threat at all. And so setting it up in a different way wouldn't fit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like 12 would definitely rebuke them, I think. 12 and 9.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of like, I wish they went with this characterization of 11 more, but oh well.
Oh well.
So yeah. I mean, I think it's a little bit, like, I don't know. I guess it's not that, like, weird for Amy. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, debating, like, is this, like, a little bit weird because, like, Amy is, like, brand new, but I guess she's still been, like, paying attention throughout the episodes, so, like,
I thought it was weird. Maybe it's just him being hormonal, but it was still weird and awkward regardless. It felt like needless anger just so she could then, like, do a thing which impressed him and be, like, sort of emphasize that the thing she did was cool and important, and it just kind of felt heavy-handed.
I guess. I think part of what throws it off is the fact that, like, we know 11 went down a different route. 'Cause, like, here's what I think. I think if they, like, it's just because we kind of have the, like, it's out of character of hindsight, because this was Matt Smith's, like, second fucking episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, I think you can approach this from two angles. One is that, this could work potentially later on in the season, because when Nine says to Rose after the shit she pulls on Father's Day, it's like, I'm taking you back, like, screw you, you don't deserve this. Like, obviously that gets resolved, but that takes more time to, like, evolve, and it's clear that doesn't happen. Here, that happens more at the end of... In The Beast Below, it happens more toward the end of the episode, so it's kind of, like, just a weirdly placed, like, kind of heavy note to hit. But on the other hand, I will defend it in the sense of, like, we're still setting up, like, Series 5 is the series of the Doctor as a fairy tale. And if there's any quality that Amy would be, like, on point, but also not on point as, it's that she thinks she knows who the Doctor is, because this is, you know, a Doctor who's very personal to her. And she happens to be right, both thematically and narratively in this sense. So I think it, you know, it just depends on, like, what you're willing to, like, tolerate, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. And, yeah, it's kind of like, it would make sense if it was something like 9 or 12, but it's kind of out of place with 11 just because of how 11 would go on to be characterized, I think.
That brings up an interesting point, because one of the things Matt Smith has said is that that one of the things that was planned for his Doctor, if he had stayed on for Series 8, is that he would have gotten a lot more cynical and mean because of his experience, you know, fighting another war on the planet Christmas, but whatever. Like, at least the mean part would make sense, you know, so that it would be interesting to see those shades, him go away from that and then come back to it. But we know that doesn't happen, so beep boop.
Yeah. Beep boop. And so yeah, they have this little, like, talk at the end, which is very sweet. And then it takes a nosedive right at the very end because of Winston Churchill. Boy, fuck Victory the Daleks. I'm setting up right now because it's gonna be all through next week. Boy, fuck Victory the Daleks. Fuck that episode.
Yeah. Okay, no. I will say there is one more thing that really pissed me off. They really say the whole, like, very old and very kind saving the children thing, like, at least too many times. I think it was, like, at least 5 that she says that same, like, round of lines. And, like, you just get to a point where it's just like, dude, you can stop. We get it. Stop, Jesus Christ. And then it stops for a minute.
And people say that RTD didn't have subtlety.
Yeah, it's ugh.
Look, the audience needs to know what they're watching.
Yeah.
Apparently. Yeah, that was cringe.
Yeah. Anyways, I guess moving on to ratings now. I don't know, despite all my faults, I really like the ideas and themes of this episode, and it kind of strikes me as, like, a weird kind of based outlier from the rest of, like, Moffat's oeuvre. So I just really like it, man. It's the Marge Simpson I just think it's neat meme. That's what this episode is for me.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, like I may have some problems with it, but I just think it's neat. So overall, I'd give it about I'd say a solid B+. No. Yeah, B+, not quite an A-. It's I think it's a definite, like, it's a good kind of, I hate to say filler, but like a good, like, not too important, just kind of standalone episode of Doctor Who. It's not anything, like, groundbreaking or amazing or anything, but I vibe with it. It's not too bad.
I would echo a lot of that. This is competent sci-fi. There's a lot of places where you could go, like, okay, well, what about this? But it feels very, shocker, I'm bringing up Star Trek again, but it feels very classic Trek in that there's a theme or an emotion that they clearly want to get across, but sometimes the narrative is just like really struggling or just really has some weird spots that if you think about it, it just puts the whole episode off. And I can completely get why that would be The Beast Below for some people. But I was really enjoying it, and even though a few new flaws came up for me while we were discussing it, it didn't really ruin the engaging experience I had while watching it. And full disclosure, I've been stressed AF for the past couple of weeks because everything, but this episode was still able to like distract me while also not being like mindless filler. So I think it gets some points for that. So I rated a kind of like a scale of like B- to B, depending on how tolerant I am of bullshit that day.
Yeah. Plus, hey, it's a fuck of a lot better than next week.
Yeah, I had some major issues with the episode. I just thought, like, Moffat's shit really came through in this one. Like, it was just barely, like his attempts to sort of, like, weave that really cringy, awkward, like, old thing, very kind, save the children kind of thing, just, it just really fell flat for me, and he really tried to push it too hard, in my opinion, which is why I liked the earlier parts of the episode when it wasn't doing that stuff as much. I think the end of the episode really fell on its face for me. Overall, I'd probably say just like a 7 out of 10. It was fine and watchable. And it tried to do some things and then failed like most of them. And it was just okay in the end.
Yeah, all right, that's fair. Next week we will be watching Victory of the Daleks by one Mark Gatiss. It's the Mark Gatiss episode of the season, everyone. And I imagine we will have a lot of bitching about that one, because I have seen that episode recently, and boy, it fucking stinks. Yeah. Until then, you can follow the podcast on Twitter at B2TARDISPod. You can also support us on Patreon for a number of benefits, such as early access to episodes, including bonus episodes, which, again, I promise we will get back to as soon as I'm not disgustingly busy. The ability to listen in live to us recording episodes, and potentially even the ability to guest star on an episode of your choosing. I'm Jeff. You can follow me on Twitter at WheeEeEE.
I'm half Skylar, half Smiler. Teehee, it rhymes, I guess. Fuck you. You can follow me on Twitter at skyhigh9_5.
I'm Celestine. You can find me at Nihilist Panther, one of the like 3 other accounts.
And we will see you all next